different. First, we go to the Children, New Mexico Bowl. I was not disappointed. We all picked Washington State. We didn't really count on, Washington State to... Washington State blew up so tremendously. It was the most beautiful collapse I've ever seen. It's like if you had a symphony playing during the demolition of Candlestick Park.
Like they're all ballerinas. They're just dancing and floating. They're floating.
Dancing, and then they spontaneously combust. That's how gracefully they collapsed.
Where everybody's like the scenes in movies where everybody's tapping like the ball at the same time, and it's just like floating in midair, and it's like everybody chasing for it while slipping on the ground. It's like one of those scenes.
I had 25 confidence points that I just lost on a Statue of Liberty play. So you know what?
I had 4. That's why you don't put 25 on.
You never bet confidence points on it. Washington State looks like they were going to win that. I'm very disappointed.
I mean, seriously, this really symbolized Washington State's football program over the past few years. Why do they find a way to screw up so effortlessly? It comes so easy to them. They led at one point 35-13 with less than a minute to go in the second quarter. They led 35-13. They ended up losing 48-45. I mean, even after they reversed the turnover, they still found a way to fumble it. And then on the kickoff return, they find a way to fumble it. Like, are they trying to lose? Like, I would want to make Mike Leach unhappy too. I mean, I don't like Mike Leach as much as the next guy. But it just must be very frustrating. Although I didn't like the Colorado State D-line coach screaming at Connor Holiday, who performed great, by the way. 6 touchdowns, 410 yards, 37-58.
Although most of that was in the first half. 5 touchdowns were in the first half.
It must have been very frustrating to be a Cougar.
Oh, now there's just silence.
No, I didn't hear what you said. Sometimes three-way Skype is a gift, and sometimes it's a curse. Just like it is to play at Fresno State. And in the last 2 games of the season...
From a super movie. It's not like a cheesy line from, like, Spider-Man.
Okay, thank you for your input. The Royal Purple Las Vegas Bowl. We were given a gift from the football gods. The second bowl game of the season featured 2 ranked teams. Number 25 USC, number 20 Fresno State. Me and Carl picked Fresno State. Props to Noah for picking USC. I just wasn't prepared to pick against Derek Carr, but it appears that I should have. 45-20, the Trojans handled the Bulldogs easily. Thoughts? Noah, you first.
Okay, question. Is Derek Carr going to end up like his brother?
I asked Jake the same thing yesterday.
And my response, I did not figure out that they were related until last week.
Okay, so you're not prepared. It takes at least a couple of years to just analyze whether or not they're going to be... Like, he's going to cut... I don't think he'll be as bad as him. Because, truthfully, a lot of his throws were on target. A couple of times the ball sailed on him. But his offensive line isn't just... It's not NFL caliber. When he has time to throw the ball, he was getting rushed a lot. Like, if you have time to throw the ball, he'd be significantly better. But USC, Cody Kessler, he was terrific in this game.
I didn't count on them to be so motivated. I didn't count on them to be so motivated by Coach O. They were fighting for them. Carl?
I think the biggest part of this game is, at the beginning of this Trojan season with Lane Kiffin, it looked so bad. They just looked awful most of the beginning of the season. And, I mean, they started out a shaky 3-2. They lost early to Washington State in a 10-7 battle. They were not looking great. But they ended up with a 10-win season. And that, I mean, obviously they played 13 regular season games, which should give them a slight edge. But still, it's impressive for that program after all they went through to get 10 wins.
By the way,
it doesn't hurt that they have three top 300 recruits on the offensive line coming in to help up their offensive line. They're going to be really good. I think they're going to be really good next year.
And Sarkisian's a great recruiter.
Before they can compete in the South.
Well,
okay, that's fair.
That's fair. Sarkisian's a great recruiter too. I was not happy when they brought him in because that's a lot more competition for more. By the way, in honor of our new favorite segment, the name team, we are picking the best name in each matchup. The winner of the Nevada Bowl, New Mexico Bowl, excuse me, I was off by one state, forgive me, would have to go to, although he did not win the game, he's number one in our hearts, Washington State punter, Wes Concepcion. Any objections?
No, I like that.
That's fine.
Alright, and the winner of this one was also a member of... No, this one was actually a member of the winning team. Javorius Allen of the Trojans. Any objections?
I'll allow it.
Alright.
It's been loud.
I know, no, I saw that. I've already picked that game. He just sent me a message for who needs to be picked for today's Beef O'Brady's Bowl game, and I had already thought of that. But I appreciate you making sure that I was going to do that. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse for me, after starting 0-2, I started 0-3. San Diego State demolished Buffalo 49-24 in that bowl game, in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. I guess you could say Buffalo got fried.
What hurts is I changed my pick right before the bowl show. I was gonna choose San Diego State, and then just because of Khalil Mack, I changed it to Buffalo.
Yeah, what happened to Khalil Mack? That was really disappointing. What do you think about this one, Carl?
I think I literally had the worst start. So in my first 3 games of the bowl season, I lost my 25. Buffalo was my 17, and Fresno State was my 13. Straight off the bat, in Bowl Mania, I was already down 55 in 3 games. It's kind of ridiculous. So the university really hates me, and yeah. So
if you're looking for a trend so far in the bowls, every single team on the
right side
yes, has won.
And
calculated to that to about 3%
3.125% chance of that happening. But lucky for me...
Another interesting thing...
Wait, do you know that 24 of my 35 picks are on the right side?
Undefeated.
What?
Really?
Oh yeah, Robert
Peters.
Peters.
A lot of my picks are on the right side.
24 35 for me on the right side. And the winner of the name game in this bowl would go to one of the San Diego State running backs. He had 2 carries for 2 yards, but it's okay. We still love him. Donnell Pumphrey. Not Humphrey, Pumphrey. Which is just fantastic.
Does he
because
pump fake a lot?
Pump fakes while running. Just pump fake.
I believe that's called a juke. Can we just call that the Pumphrey fake? And speaking of names, though, how are we supposed to avoid talking about names when you brought the Tulane Green Wave and the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns battling? It's just too perfect. 24-21, the Raging Cajuns came out. Thank goodness I picked them, and that snapped my early dry spell. 24-21, Raging Cajuns won in their 3rd consecutive appearance at the RNL Carriers Bowl. Noah, you get to go first for this one.
This was a very boring game. I stopped watching after the first quarter, and then I started watching a little bit out in the 4th when Tulane tried to make their little comeback there. But you know, it's not a great game when both of the quarterbacks don't throw a touchdown and combine for 3 interceptions and just have terrible QBRs. Let's see, Tulane's was 15.7, and Louisiana Lafayette's was 26.5. So pretty bad. Nobody over 100 yards rushing. Only 1 receiver over 100 yards receiving. So not a great offensive game, unlike many, or basically all of the other games. The first is disappointing offensive game.
You know, especially when you had Terrence Broadway coming in, battling through that injury. They thought he wasn't going to play. He came in anyway. That was a really disappointing outing from him. And Tulane, you know, you thought that they'd snap this dry spell, come through playing their final game in the Superdome, and they really laid an egg toward the end. Carl, what do you think about this game?
When I look at that game, again, it's a pretty nonchalant, boring game. And it's just about where I had a confidence of 6, and it was about as close as I guess I expected it. I didn't have a lot of interest in that game. I didn't actually watch the game. It was
It was painful. You know, you had great names, but the game was bad. I didn't watch it. I was out, but I was happy to find out that the Raging Cajuns won. And now we do have an upset here in the name game. You thought Fudge Van Hooser would win, but he was practically non-existent in this game, so we can't give it to him. Terrence Broadway, I mean, this is a quarterback he named Broadway, but he didn't exactly put on a show. Yes, put the pun counter at 1 for this show so far. And so the winner, when you have two teams from New Orleans playing in New Orleans in a bowl called the New Orleans Bowl, you have to give it to the Tulane running back, Orleans Darkwa. His first name is Orleans. This was his destiny.
That's too perfect. That's too perfect.
It is too perfect. And then today, first of all, I just have to spit it out right now because this is the best name yet. The winner of the name game for the Beef O'Brady's Bowl between East Carolina and Ohio, running back for career best 198 yards, 2 TDs, Vintavious Cooper for East Carolina. He was great.
That's a great name. That's a terrific name.
Great name and a great game too. 20 points in the final quarter for East Carolina. They were tied at 17 going into the final quarter, but East Carolina ran away 37-20. If you listen to our College Bowl prediction show, you would have known that all of us unanimously picked East Carolina to win in a blowout. Good enough game, I guess. I kind of forgot it was on, but I was happy to see that someone named Vintavious Cooper did well. Carl, your reactions first.
My reactions, East Carolina was they only scored 17 in the first half, but they were much more dominating that. 0 for 2 on fourth down conversions, both of those deep possession. They put up 568 yards. That doesn't even show how dominating this offense was. It was just obliterating Ohio. A big performer was their quarterback, Shane Carden. Only 29 for 45, so a little low on that completion percentage, and 273 yards and a touchdown. But he was the leader of this team, and he was just ripping up that team. And he didn't throw a pick, which is the biggest thing, especially when you got a running back going like Vintavious Cooper going for almost 200 yards. He didn't turn over the ball, which was huge for that team. And then because you look at the other side, and you've got Tyler Tettleton, and he threw 3 picks on 21 for 40. Yeah, not a great game for him.
Yeah, what's sad is there was probably more attendance at this game than any other sporting event at the Trop. I'm looking at you, Rays fans. Noah, what do you think about this one?
Did any of you guys watch the game?
No.
I watched a good amount of it.
Sorry,
okay.
I had to win my
So, Carl, did you see the play where Tyler Tettleton is looking downfield and basically doesn't throw the ball away? He just runs out of bounds. He didn't decide whether or not he wanted to throw it away.
Oh, yeah, no,
So he just ran out of... You knew the game was over, right? Then you're like, oh my god, did he really just... all you have to do is throw it away, but no, instead he's nonchalantly walk sideways out of bounds. Tyler Tettleton, as much as I like his name, I just like saying it, Tyler Tettleton. It sounds kind of like a fancy guy, but he just was awful. And his coach, after the play, when he just walked out of bounds, just first got angry at him, then kind of just stared at him. But that was just bad. And then Blankenship of Ohio's the running back is bad too.
Well,
overall,
Desmond Patterson. Mond Patterson. He returned 3 kicks for 51 yards.
By the way, I feel like
Darius Vick, the sophomore, coming in and being the only good bright spot of that loss. 3 for 3, 100 yards throwing, and a touchdown.
I feel like
hopefully in the future of that program.
Yeah, I feel like Tyler Tettleton would be some really snooty guy you'd meet. Hello, my name's Tyler Tettleton, of Tettleton Technology Industries, technology teacher. Tyler Tettleton, nice to meet you.
Everything repeats, everything he says. He just doesn't say anything else.
A totally tantalizing game from Tyler Tettleton.
He just meets somebody, and if he can't think of a word, he just doesn't say anything.
And appropriately, because he's snooty, his favorite drink would be tea.
No, if he can't think of a word, he just walks out of bounds.
Yeah.
How about some trivia about the Beef O'Brady's Bowl and East Carolina? It's a good thing that we like Vintavious Cooper's name, because we might be hearing it a lot more in the future. Who was the last East Carolina player to win an MVP in a bowl game? I'll give you a hint. He was a running back, ran for 223 yards against Boise State in the 2007 Hawaii Bowl.
07?
Yes.
I'm not going to look this up, so I'm just going to... I don't know.
Okay. What is the 11th letter of the alphabet?
City.